Hi, in this video, I will talk about date effectiveness feature. Date effectiveness allows developer to easily create date range fields and code. It's a very handy tool. It's reduced amount of time that developers spend on developing business logic with date date date, and also it's a very consistent approach to implement date range. um, you can use lots of different cases, but mostly if there is a start date time or end date, start date time and or end date time, you can use this feature. It's easy to implement, but be careful when you use select queries. You need to use valid time state key for your results. Let's add a new date effectiveness feature to one of our tables. In our project, actually, we have activity rates, and in activity rates, we have start date and date, but we didn't implement a date effectiveness feature for this one, and I don't want to break this table, so I don't want to change it. For demo purpose, I will use activity expense type, for example. Let's think we have activities that has time periods. Okay, so this expense type is only valid for in some time period, and we need to add start date and end date to this table. You should first you need to go to table properties, this one, and in this table there is a property valid time state field type, and we have three options here: none, date, UTC, date time. If you want to add date time, start date time or end date time, you can use this one, but in this example I will use only date, so I choose date, and automatically it's valid to and valid from field for us. And after that, you need to create a index. Actually, we have an index here. You need to add your fields to this index. Okay, and at the index property, you need to select alternative key yes, also valid time state key yes. Now you need to go to table properties, and in this property you can see cluster index and primary index is still the same, but in this property we have another key, replacement key. So in the replacement key I am selecting this one. Okay, now my table almost ready. Let's open this form and add these fields to expense type. Opening this one, fields. Let's store this one. Okay, here. Let's add to grid. Okay. Now it's almost ready. Let's start our project and see how it's work. Okay, let's open our form. Okay. For example, let's enter a meal. Sorry. new 2012. And okay, let's give another same. Now I will just save this one, and as you can see, it gives an expiration date automatically to first records, and it's my effectiveness starts from today. Now I will not write lots of logic to handle this expiration and effective date, and it will automatically manage this for me. Of course, this because we have a property here. Let me show you that property I forget to tell you about. We have valid time state mode here. It has two options, no gap and gap. If there is a gap between two dates, you need to select, of course, gap, but our property was no gap. So because of that, the expiration date and effectiveness date follows because we choose no gap. Okay, now let's enter another one and see. It's not important. Let's say this one. And okay, it's important. That's another one because I will write some code for that. Okay, and now okay, it's enough. Let's go back and remember. First, we select our tables valid time state field type. After that, we create a new index and add our valid to and valid from to this index. Also, we select alternative key and valid time state key yes. And of course, we didn't select, but it's a default value, no gap value. After that, we add this to our form. Now, if I want to select active expense types for a specific date or a date range, I need to write a specific query. And let's add a new job here. Code. Okay, first of all, let's create our variable. Okay. Now I want to show you the active records of this table. So let's select the while select. Let's create a while select here. Okay. Now it seems okay, but of course for active code we need to write where condition. For example, valid to start date, it's upper than this, etc. But we don't need to do any of that. We just we can just use this keyword valid time state, and this valid time state takes parameter date. We need to write like this. Also, let's create a date. Date. Maybe today. Okay. Now this select query gives me the right record, right active record. Let's run this and see if it's work as we expected. First of all, I want to set a startup project, this one, and let's run it. Okay, it runs and shows us 3 records because these one the active one. For example, meal 2012 is not listed here because it was expired. So it worked. Let's go back to our code. Also, you can use this valid time state as a range. If you have another, if you want to select range, validation range from here, you can use this one too. You can write another, for example, like this. Can also use this one. You want to select 10 periods of record active period. You can use like this too. Also, you have options for query framework. In query framework, we have some methods. Let's write here directly. In query, we have valid. Sorry, I couldn't find. Let me look at like this. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, this one. As you can see, we have valid time state as of date, as of date time, date range, and date time range. In normal select, you don't need to use different keyword for date time, but in query you need to use a different keyword for this one. Now, when you build a new query framework for data effectiveness feature table, you need to use these keyword and this keyword if you use normal select. So that's okay for this video. You know, data effectiveness feature is very handy and easy tool to manage your date range requirements, and it has lots of different usage in standard application, especially when you sometimes, especially junior developers get confused about this because they are selecting any record but they couldn't get a result. Most of the time, when I realize they are struggling with this kind of table, so I told them you need to use valid time state keyword to select the proper record for this one. Be careful with standard table. Always check the properties of table before selecting a record or doing some businesses over there. And Okay, that's all. I hope it's helping. Happy Daxing.